Now that I have everyone's attention, thank you for attending Public Speaking Period 3 Spring Final. I've only been in Period 3 since the second semester, but trust me, it's been a very long year. Despite that, it's also been a very fun year, and I can't believe it is nearly over. So here we go. Our first speaker of the afternoon is Agnika. Agnika is a very strong public speaker. She contributes to every single critique at the end of all of our speeches. This always makes an impact on the way we improve for the next speech. Here she is.
Hello, I'm Agnika Katak. For most of my life, I've been comfortable. I've been constantly getting high grades throughout my schooling, and aside from choir, I never really attended many extracurriculars. I also avoided social interactions as much as possible. I rarely made friends, and while I was generally friendly with all my classmates, they rarely deepened past acquaintanceship. I was happy with this. It was familiar and safe. I was content with my high scores and non-existent social life. It was my normal. However, because I was comfortable, I never pushed myself past my very small world. I had never grown because I never stepped out of my comfort zone. So when I began high school, I promised myself that I would, at the very least, try to improve myself. To do this, I started attending all manner of after-school clubs: art, makerspace, D&D, and the volunteering club. After attending a few meetings from each club, I decided that I would only return to the volunteering club. The service projects were incredibly rewarding, and it would look good on my college application, so it was a win-win. During my time in the volunteering club, I learned and honed a lot of skills. For example, I worked as both a secretary and a treasurer in the club, which helped me improve my organizational, scheduling, and budgeting skills. I also learned how to interact with a variety of people. I learned how to be polite and professional in a multitude of settings. And this interaction with many people bled over into my personal life. For the first time ever, I was actually seeking out social interactions. I started chatting with members of the volunteering club, and for the first time in years, I had people with whom I interacted with often, spent lunch with, and contacted regularly outside of school. I found myself with actual friends, which was huge for me. Bolstered by my new friendships, I decided that I was also going to tackle my anxiety regarding presentations. So I signed up for public speaking. I was, predictably, pretty bad in the beginning. I was too fast, too quiet, and moved too much. However, as the year went on, I slowly improved. My pace and volume improved, and my constant movement calmed down. I grew more confident and comfortable with my speeches, and while I still detest public speaking, I no longer avoid presentations like the plague. My time in high school has led me to improve myself in multiple aspects, and I feel incredibly proud of myself because of it. This August, I'm going to begin attending college. It will be a massive change for me and will most definitely drag me outside of my comfort zone. However, this time, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you. Next up is Lachelle. She's kind, hardworking, and writes fantastic speeches.
Oops. Thank you, Agnika. Good afternoon, everyone. As I prepare to graduate, I've been thinking a lot about the moments that shaped me, not just all the big events, but the quiet, invisible experiences that helped define who I was and who I've become. I want to share one of those moments, something I carried with me silently for a long time: the experience of growing up as an only child, coming to a new country, and learning slowly, painfully, and beautifully how to step out of isolation. But here in this new place, that same solitude feels different, heavier, the kind of silence that doesn't comfort, it echoes. I watched people form friendships, laugh, belong, and I stood on the edges, convincing myself I didn't need it, that I was just fine alone. The truth is, I wasn't. As time passed, I began to feel how loneliness quietly drains you, not just emotionally, mentally, but also spiritually. It made me second-guess myself. It made me more withdrawn. It affected how I handled stress and how I saw the world and also how I saw myself. I didn't realize how deeply isolation affected me until I started to feel the need for more, for connection, for presence, and for community. As I grew up, I began to want something different. I didn't want to keep shrinking into myself. I didn't want to carry everything alone. I wanted to be social, not just to make friends, but because I realized that loneliness affects your soul. It affects how you handle life, how you care for yourself, and how you allow others to care for you. So I started making changes, small ones. I said yes when I would have said no. I made space for connections, even when they felt awkward. I pushed myself out of my comfort zone because I knew that staying silent was no longer safe. It was slowly hurting me. Now, as I prepare to take the next step in my life, I carry this truth with me. Connection matters, community matters. We are not meant to do this life alone. I'm still learning how to open up, how to trust, how to let myself be seen. But I'm proud of how far I've come so far. This coming graduation is more than just a ceremony for me. It's a turning point, a reminder that even in a house with one voice, the door can always be opened, and there's a whole world waiting to be shared. Thank you. For our next speaker, she's a true lover of art, someone that finds beauty in whatever she does and makes it beautiful. What really sets her apart, though, is her heart, not just her inventiveness. She is a lovely person who brightens every space she enters and is understanding, helpful, and always willing to help. Maricen Lockwood.
Hello, everyone, and I want to thank all of you for joining us to listen to our final speeches at WHS. As a reflection of myself, I have decided to reflect on my own high school experience. To sum it up, I have created the 4 F's of high school: friendship, forgiveness, fun, and farewell. The thing I will definitely not forget about high school are the friendships that I have made. Whether it was a small or big friendship, there are always small memories that I will remember. The late night walks with old friends, the Dunkin' runs after practice, Friday hangouts with Michael, the late night calls with uncontrollable laughter from Carly, or the daily selfies I would take in Miss Chatterson's class with Lachelle. All small, but truly meaningful to me. I'd like to take a second to reflect on the point in high school where you realize that not all friends stay forever and you can drift apart. As a freshman, I truly thought that all the friends that I had in the beginning would be there until the end. Even after I've drifted apart from so many great friends, I will never forget what they did for me, and I'm beyond grateful for all of them. Even if we don't talk, we still have the unspoken bond that allows us to see each other in the hallway and just remember what we had. In my senior exit interview, I had one of my panel members ask me, "What was the catalyst to your personal freedom, or what led you to find yourself?" And the answer to that question was when I learned to forgive. Forgiveness is not an easy thing to do, especially when you're trying to forgive someone who truly does not deserve it. Whether you welcome them back into your life or not, forgiving is so important, not only because it gives you a chance to release unneeded anger and stress, it shows faith in that person's growth. Not only do you grow your own wings, but you give them a chance to grow their own. Without learning to forgive, I would not be where I am today. Getting over drama from when I was 16 allowed me to turn 17 and 18 without still feeling 16. It also allowed me to get amazing friendships back. Without it, I would not have Nate or Carly back in my life. Also, after forgiveness, you can have fun. Fun is the 3rd F of the speech, and equally as important as forgiveness. Many may see school as something they dread, because it involves so much studying and having to ace every exam, which it surely does sometimes, but after graduation, you will not regret not staying up those extra 5 minutes studying for your exam, or listening to your teacher's advice about making flashcards. You'll be happy you spent some time with yourself or time with your friends, because sometimes you just need to have fun. You will always remember the hangouts with your friends or the daily conversations with the teachers you adore, not that one assignment or test. I am grateful that I have learned to juggle both of these skills, no matter how much stress it may sometimes come with it. I feel beyond proud of myself for where I stand academically and also where I stand socially. As my high school career comes to an end, I dread the goodbyes I'm going to have to endure. I'd like to take this opportunity to have a direct thank you and goodbye to my public speaking class. As we progressed through the year, with each speech coming more and more easier to perform, I saw the home we created amongst one another. All thanks to Ms. Chatterton's dedication, we all have the bond that is different than any other. Even if some of us are not friends outside of class, you know me and I know you. So thank you for not only choosing to introduce yourself to this skill, but welcoming me and each of our classmates into your days and allowing us to improve off of your support. It has been an amazing year with you all, and I could not ask for a better class to have experienced it with. I wish you all the best. I decided to add today a fifth F, future. I have the pleasure of attending JCC in the fall. I will be pursuing nursing alongside two of my closest friends there, as well as attending with another one of my close friends. I'm a little nervous, but I'm confident in my success, and I'm sure in my classmates' successes as well. Although graduation seemed like forever away years ago, it is finally here, and to be honest, I'm not ready for it. I'm going to miss you all so much, especially my mentors, Miss Ames, Miss Chatterton, and Miss Pierce. I don't know what I'll do without you all. Thank you. Next up is someone who will grow rich from her trading skill, but is and will always be rich at heart. I have seen her grow so much throughout the year, and I'm beyond proud of her. Please welcome Jasmine Robertson to the stage.
Thank you, Maddie. Hello, everybody. Throughout high school, there has been an enormous change within myself and overall. Coming in as a freshman, I was oblivious to the world, primarily focused on school and getting good grades. The way I talked to myself and carried myself was pure. I spent every night watching shows, and every morning I would just eat food and pick out my outfit. Throughout the high school, the loss of innocence shadowed me as I experienced many situations. I began to question myself and my interests. I was still focused on school, but realized school does not interest me. My styles and hobbies changed. I started to enjoy clothes and anime. They may seem like mild changes. They influenced me in how I moved. I realized that change is good, and as I grow, I should change. Although going through typical high school experiences such as drama, friends, and relationships provided me growth and strength, but it ultimately made me accept that I don't like to go out, and it is normal to not be a typical high school student. I learned about the importance of being alone and staying true to yourself. Learning about yourself is key, especially after high school. I also learned about the importance of having a singular friend. In typical high school movies, it is desired to be popular and to have a big friend group, but I realized one is more valued than having many. I learned to stay focused on my future and my goal. Looking back to my freshman self, I will tell her to just stay focused and to find her interest and not to be worried about anything else. However, these experiences molded me to the person who I am today, in which I can say it's been a long 4 years, but I am grateful that I learned these experiences. I'm hoping to learn more as I go out in the outside world, to be the best version of myself that I can be, and to thrive in all expectations and goals I set for myself in the future. Thank you. Next up is Briar. She is a humble, soft-spoken person and can probably braid anyone's hair if you ask her to.
Thank you, Jasmine. Today I've written a poem, A Father's Choice. In a home where love takes a different form, lives a girl adapting to all she goes through. With her mother's heart, a source of hope, and a guiding light, and a stepfather's strength shining ever so bright. He stepped in not by blood, but by a choice, mending cracks with a helpful hand, providing, protecting a steady land. Building a haven in this promised world, but shadows linger from past untold. A father's absence, a story unfolds. In and out like a fleeting dream, leaving wounds that run deep, it would seem. Now 16, with wisdom in her eyes, she faces the truth beneath the cloudy skies. healing from addiction's cruel sting, finding strength and love that others bring. Despite the trials she overcame, love's steady presence is her aim. In her stepfather's gentle hold, a timeless love, a story told. Thank you. Next up is DJ. DJ is one of the most talented seniors I know. His words and his way of expressing himself is really awesome, and I'm glad that he's able to share them with you today. So here's DJ.
This is How I Feel, a poem written by DJ McKenna. Alright. How I feel is not important. Don't worry about me. I just need someone to make me laugh and keep me company. Finding true love is a journey set for me. I gotta be the better me to fulfill my prophecy. Some people call me a talentless, sad, ugly piece of garbage, that I don't care about others, and I'm cold-hearted. It's one specific person that says these things, and that person is me. I tell myself I'm not worth it and deal with my problems by myself. So I just put all my feelings on a show. I'm just a young man trying to achieve his dreams. Why are you trying to bring me down? Do you not believe in me? Am I just a clown with big red shoes for you to see? Or am I actually perceived as a human being? I always dreamed of someone finding my lifeless body. But then I take a look outside and admire the beauty. My demons are strong, but my will to live is getting stronger. Fighting with my inner self no longer. 2 attempts, I'm glad I survived. I can't remember the last time I actually cried. Even if I tried, it'd be one tear from my dried out eyes. And to my surprise, being in my feelings made me realize that you only live once. Only live once, and to thrive for happiness. If you stay at the state of mind that you're at, you're wasting your life. It's okay to be upset and feel lost in the wind, but it's never okay to not be able to have a genuine smile again. Thank you. And the next person going up is the most happy, hyper, and vibey person. They always bring good energy in the room, and that person is Sienna Verga.
Dang it. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Today is June 3rd. Not only is today June 3rd, but it's also Harper's birthday, my public speaking final, and it's also National Egg Day. Yeah, eggs. Sounds like a really weird thing for me to do my final speech on. It's pretty important. However, when my classmate Maddie, who previously spoke, said, "Did you know the day of our public speaking final is National Egg Day?" After having no idea what I was going to do, I said, that's going to be my topic now, and I'm not even joking either. Eggs are one of those weird foods where I'm either having an aversion to them or I'm loving them when I eat them. Nonetheless, my dad cooks them for me every single morning. Some days I only take a few bites, and others I clear the plate. My dad and I sit together, sipping our coffees as I eat. We rant about the new drama at school, the crazy moments at work, or whatever happened on the news last night, even though sometimes we disagree. Or sometimes we're both just too tired and we just sit and enjoy each other's company in silence. At 6:55, I promptly rise off the couch, I kiss my dad goodbye, and I walk out the door so I can get to school on time. Sounds early, but I do live in Henderson, so it's quite the drive. The next morning, the cycle will continue. After today, I have 6 more days of school, not including our senior trip and senior skip day. An intimidating realization for me. Though it's not intimidating because I will miss the high school or the early morning alarms that I snooze 7 times, it's intimidating because I will be taking the next step into my womanhood in only a few short months. And I only have 6 more breakfasts before school with my dad. Sure, I'll have the summer breakfast, but it won't be the same. And then in 3 months, the only time that I'll be able to have breakfast with my dad will be when he visits me in Virginia. This thought has led me to reflect on my high school career. I spent a lot of my high school years constantly wishing them away. I remember my parents telling me that high school will fly by in the blink of an eye. And I can tell you now, as a senior who's graduating in about a month, that it's really not that fast, and I wouldn't find that true. But that's a blessing that many take for granted, including me. The time between my freshman first day and now were the most pivotal of my life. Not only the time I spent in the classroom, but the time I spent outside of it. In that time, I learned to appreciate the big things: my friends, my family, and the time that I have to live my life. But also the little things: the coffee dates with my friends, taking off to go see my brother and sister-in-law in Salem, coming home to my mom, and the morning eggs with my dad. So always remember to live life sunny side up and appreciate the moments that life brings you. Thank you. I had never met the person speaking next until the first day of this year, but I'm very glad that I did. Dan has an infectious smile and a positive energy. I always look forward to seeing the sketches and drawings he puts on my critique sheets after every single speech. So without further ado, please give a very warm welcome to Daniel Okeo.
All right. For as long as I can remember, I've always been a person who's compassionate in the way I'm ready to go above and beyond for others. Growing up around hoodlums, I developed this ideology that I had to be tough if I wanted to fit in or be normal. If I was otherwise, I'd be considered strange. But I knew trying to fit in would go against how my mother raised me. A proverb in the Bible states, "Direct your child onto the right path, and when they are older, they will not leave it." A verse that influenced the character my mother instilled in me. Growing up, my character and self-perception will contradict many times. However, I've been lucky enough to meet certain people that help steer my path in the right direction. Because of them, I believe in embracing authentic compassion. For as long as I can remember, my grandmother has been the embodiment of compassion. The way she cared for family and even strangers was more than admirable. Her laudable traits were strongly rooted as her African ancestry. She was the first person after my mother who taught me the height and depth of love. The amount of times where she was able to demonstrate this exceeds how much I can count. One instance I recall regularly happened when I was in 6th grade. I remember that day I came home from school with a burning sensation in my mouth, which resulted from a spicy piece of meat lodged deep in my throat. I was in a frustrated state, but my grandmother calmed me down and met me with a resolution. I was incredulous of such a method, but at the time I was desperate. She instructed me to lay down on the sofa and began praying over me. An earnest heart was praying for a divine intervention over a humble situation such as mine. As she was praying, a terrible cough came over me at a specific time that I was able to lodge the piece of meat back up. If it was as if God himself orchestrated them. The miracle itself was not the impressive part. It was my grandmother's compassion that drove me to tears, which of course was the cause of the miracle. In that moment, I learned how great my grandmother's compassion was. Years have passed since that moment, and I've grown. My perception of life has changed. Although I would not call myself observant, I do always observe people's characteristics. I realize that most people are not compassionate as I thought, maybe even apathetic to a certain level. But this only serves to be true to the experiences I had thus far. Life later would disprove me when I encountered people who shattered the walls of my perception, exposing me to the new perspectives. I've come to the conclusion that my compassion is authentic, but if it was not inspired by others, I'll still see my nature in a negative light. My belief is inspired by its manifestation in others' lives. Because of others, I'm able to believe in embracing authentic compassion. Thank you. Up next, we have Gabriella. She's one of the kindest and most approachable people you meet, with a personality that really stands out. She's thoughtful, confident, and not afraid to speak her mind, which always makes her speeches engaging and full of insight. I'm excited for you all to hear what she has to say today. Please welcome Gabriella.
Just have fun. Isn't that what it's all about? We live our lives planning for what is to come next. At 3 years old, you're being taught the alphabet. At 7, you're learning how to read. It's like from the moment we took our first steps and said our first words, we're being prepped for the future. In middle school, they're preparing you for high school, and in high school, they're preparing you for college. It's a constant cycle that truly is never going to stop. But somewhere along the way, we forget to actually live. Those 2,160 days spent inside of a school are focused primarily on learning how to read, write, add, subtract, along with a handful of things that you're not going to use after. While getting buried with piles of work, we forget that we will never be in this exact moment ever again. We get so caught up in getting good grades and picking the right college that we forget to laugh and do the fun things that make life worth living. Some of our best days haven't even happened yet, and the ones that have are worth remembering and experiencing. I mean, think about it. When we come out of high school, are we really going to remember the day we aced the test? No, we're going to remember Miss Chatterton getting pied in the face at the pep rally, begging the DJ to change the songs at homecoming, and taking up class time to watch scary YouTube videos. We will graduate and think of the days we got to dress up and dance with our best friends, not the days that we struggled in math. You need to experience life in the best ways possible and how you want to experience it. You aren't going to regret missing out on one day, but you will regret not having fun. Create the memories you want to go to sleep dreaming about. Thank you. I'm pleased to announce our next speaker, Cooper Raymond Bush. Cooper's one of the most humorous individuals I have ever met. Cooper joined our class halfway through the year, and there hasn't been a dull moment since. He always knows the answer and constantly gives out advice whether you ask for it or not. So please picture yourself in our third period class as Cooper speaks today.
I'm back. I just wrote this speech about 2 hours ago, so I'm just gonna bear with me. At the beginning of the year, I wanted to go to college to play baseball and major in physical education. I thought about it and I was like, no, I don't want to. I had another thought that I wanted to go to college for nursing. Thought about it. I was like, no. So on the way down to Myrtle Beach, I watched the whole Twilight series. I didn't realize that in the third movie there was a whole speech that I just kind of skipped past. And after we got back from Myrtle Beach, I skipped a day of school to watch Twilight with my mom. And she started crying during the speech and was like, you should do it for your public speaking final. And I was like, okay. So it's basically my final speech is this. When we were 5, they asked us what we wanted to be when we grow up. Our answers were things like astronaut, president, or in my case, princess. When we were 10, they asked again, and we answered rock star, cowboy, or in my case, gold medalist. But now that we've grown up, they want a serious answer. Well, how about this? Who the hell knows? This isn't the time to make hard and fast decisions. It's the time to make mistakes, take the wrong train, and get stuck somewhere. Chill, fall in love, major in philosophy, because there's no way to make a career out of that. Change your mind, then change it again, because nothing is permanent. So make as many mistakes as you can. That way, someday when they ask again what we want to be, we won't have to guess, we'll know. That's it, that's all I got. Oh yeah, we're going to take a little 10-minute break, and there's beverages and there's food back there, so.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second half of our spring third period public speaking final. I hope everybody enjoyed their food. Our next speaker is Harper Lane. Harper is attending St. Bonaventure University in the fall. She's a very outgoing, positive, and nice person for all the time I've known her. I've never seen her in a bad mood, and that's always a great thing every class, to have somebody you know will be in a great mood. It's also Harper's birthday today, so let's everybody sing for her.
Thank you, Kyle, and thank you to all of you. One fun fact about me is that I hate being sung happy birthday. So, not only is public speaking helping me with my fear of, well, public speaking, but also helping me get over my anxiety about having happy birthday sung to me. As you all now know, today is my birthday. I'm 18. As I reflect on these last 18 years, a mix of emotions come to surface: happiness, excitement, and melancholy. There are a lot of things that I can do now that I'm an adult. I can vote, get my belly button pierced without parent permission, and legally develop a gambling addiction. Wish me luck! As I leave my youth behind, there are some things I will miss. I will miss living at home full time, even with my mom's constant nagging about my room. I will miss the innocence and bliss that came with it, although it meant I did not always get the joke. I will also miss Watertown, despite the amount of times I said I was ready to leave it behind. In all honesty, I never realized how drastically my life would change when I got into high school. I wasn't aware of the number of friends I would make, people I would lose, and memories I would have. When I started 9th grade, I did not have very many friends. This meant I was alone a lot. I came home upset many days because of this. Over time, I slowly began to find my people. Along that journey, I learned some valuable lessons. I learned that you may not always be able to trust those, even the people that are closest to you. I also learned that you should always hold your loved ones close. They'll always be there for you in the end. Even in my hardest moments, those who truly care for me were always there. On days where I struggle with overthinking and anxiety, I remind myself that the people who I truly want and need in my corner will always be there for me. Even with those difficult lessons, there were always fun times. Those included drive-thrus, late-night karaoke, Target runs, and Sam Booth's backyard. I've also learned that you need to make the most of life, even when it gets hard. I've also learned, thanks to Jack's impeccable aim, that raccoons don't like cans getting thrown at them. This last school year, I feel that I've blossomed. I've surrounded myself with people who I never thought I would, but I'm so grateful that I do. To my friends and loved ones, thank you for bearing with me over these last 4 years. I know that I was not always the easiest person to deal with, but your support helped shape me into the woman I am today. As I am now 18, I mourn my youth and everything that came with it, especially the fact that I now have to slice meat at the Adams Center Market. To conclude, I would like to share an excerpt from a poem I wrote last year for Mrs. Chatterton's Enriched English class. I revised it to be more relevant to my life now, but I feel it is important to share with my speech. Now that I'm 18, I take a minute to reflect. The hard moments, although making me weak then, lift me up to where I am now. I am strong, I am resilient. Even so, sometimes I lie awake, thinking my dreams away, wondering to myself in the black night, she did not deserve that, but she lived through it, and that's something she can be proud of. Thank you. Next up is Sophia Spicer. Sophia is always quick with a laugh, smile, or the iffiest advice you've ever heard. She has been a standout in public speaking. She's grown so much this year, and we are all so proud of how far she's come. Please welcome Sophia.
Thank you, Harper. That was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. All right. I've spent the past 2 months writing and rewriting this speech. I only came about this, my final draft, yesterday. Everything I had written down never felt right. Struggling to figure out a lesson, quote, or moment to reflect upon, I decided on a person, my great-grandmother, Adriana Cavalario. She lived to be 100 years old. She recently passed away in early May. I've been thinking a lot about her and my family lately. The light that followed every step she took and the time she brought my family together are the most sacred moments of my life. Alongside the pool in her backyard, all my aunts, uncles, cousins, and friends of family have shared lifelong memories around that pool. I also learned how to swim, dive, and do a watermelon with Grandma watching. Little me always loved doing flips and swinging around her clothing line. And that is something she told me she remembered even a decade later. Something you can ask every single family member and receive the same answer is who always had the best snacks at her house. Grandma did. Goldfish, peppermint Yorks, and my personal favorite, the fruit snacks. No matter what, Grandma always welcomed anyone with food, drinks, and a conversation, and very good advice. Something I greatly appreciated was her humor. Up until her final days, this woman was still cracking jokes and spilling out laughter. She was a firm believer of God, family, and love. My whole life, she had shown me what is truly important and meaningful. I will carry those sweet memories with me with everything I do for the rest of my life. Every visit to Grandma's, she told me how sweet and beautiful I was, along with how she thought I was going to grow up to be the most amazing person. I will continue being the woman she had hoped for me to be. I will forever carry her spirit with me. Towards the end of her life, many ladybugs appeared in my grandma's kitchen. A week or so later, at her funeral, there were ladybugs up and down the walls of the mausoleum. I looked at my bonus mom, and we said that this will be a sign of her. After her passing on vacation, I stood outside overthinking everything as always, and when a ladybug landed on my hand. Not even a week later, Luke and I went to the Bayside, walked through the restaurant she owned, and a few steps out of that building, a ladybug landed on my shoulder and stayed there while we walked down that entire strip. The amount of joy that came over me knowing my grandma was there was truly a blessing. I knew it was her. Her life and role in my family's lives were the biggest blessing. My morals, beliefs, and way of thinking was all shown to me through my great-grandmother. To the Spicers, Cavalarios, and McGoveneys, coming together during the holidays, birthdays, and random dinners was a huge part of all of our lives. We owe it all to Grandma. Thank you. Tonight, I have the opportunity to introduce the next speaker, Nate Otis. Nate's vocabulary is strong and professional, as well as his speaking abilities. He has an exquisite music taste that I greatly respect. Being able to witness his growth over the past 3 years has been an absolute pleasure. Now let's welcome Nate Otis.
Thank you, Sophia. I don't know what to do. This is something I've been saying since Chatty assigned this speech, and the predicament that I'm in has genuinely not changed. This speech is still being written as we sit in class the day before I'm supposed to read it in front of all of you. And yet I still cannot think of what I want to do. I know this may seem like somewhat of a boring topic upon first blush, but it goes deeper if you begin to ask why. Why don't I know what to do? It's not merely that I don't know what to do with this speech, but rather with my existence. I've become terrified going out into the world where I'm expected at every turn to tell people what I intend to do. I do not know. I hear similar sentiments from many of my peers as we venture off into our individual destinies. Other than the fact that I'm going to college, I don't know where I'm going in life. Yes, I've enrolled into college for nursing, which I might use as an undergraduate for medical malpractice law, a mixture of my parents' professions. But do I really know what I want to do? No, I really don't. I don't understand how everyone can decide so easily, how they can be so sure of their decisions. Why can't I be passionate about something? Why can't I be the very best at something? Sitting and thinking about these unfortunate truths for my entire high school career has caused me to snowball into this antithetical version of omniscience. This snowball has evolved into an avalanche, and as of now, it shows no signs of slowing. As the years fly by, I am becoming more and more aware that I know nothing. Every opinion and view from any source of information has an equally viable counterpart to whatever relevance it might have. Being unsure is one of my biggest struggles, and yet it seems to encompass all of reality. How can I be sure the truth, or what should happen if the truth is constantly being proven wrong as we evolve? If you asked about the solar system prior to the 15th century, you'd be told the Earth is the center of it all. What was once known for certain is now fallacy. As recently as my parents' generation, they could not come out of high school. They could come out of high school with some guarantee of an approach and how to approach their future. Sorry. Be it blue-collar training or a white-collar education, and the likely payout for their future. But today's generation can be sure of nothing. With AI changing the rules so that no one knows what skills or education might even have the best value in the coming years. Now amongst all this information everywhere, for everyone to access, no one knows anything. And so it is that I don't know what to write this speech about or what to do with my future. I suppose all any of us can do is continue plodding forward, one step at a time, taking the future as it comes and doing our best to evolve along with society. We are all in the same boat of guesswork and hope that our choices, talents, and careers will still matter when we get out of college. Thank you. Next up is Irissa. She's an incredibly intelligent young woman who has a very impactful sense of humor that she's going to demonstrate to you all today. Thank you.
Thank you, Nate. You did great, by the way. Anyways, good afternoon, folks. My name is Irissa Ratinarungsi, and thank you all very much for coming to my presidential campaign, where I hope to gain your vote and support for the 2025 election as your president, or at the very least, as your last resort. Due to unfortunate circumstances that have nothing to do with me or my planning, my political adversary is unable to join us today, which is such a tragedy because I am confident they had a wonderful campaign planned out. So, why am I worthy of your vote? Well, for one, I have experience in turning a month's worth of work into 3 hours. Efficiency at its finest. I consider all perspectives when it comes to decision making, and I remain meticulous to the point of indecision. I also support a mostly peaceful foreign affair policy, and as president, I vow to maintain international tactfulness by discussing foreign affairs over home-baked cookies and a cup of tea. And if that doesn't work, I propose we adjust our diplomacy through brownies, with or without a hint of cyanide. My policies include making therapy free because let's be real, we will all need it during my term. Enhancing productivities by eliminating Mondays, boosting national security by banning scam calls, and abolishing taxes entirely for fun. One might refer to me as delusional or out of touch, but I am simply optimistic. After all, I am one of you. The only difference is that I am above you all. Literally, I am on an elevated platform, and I am wearing a suit. During my presidency, I hope to bring equality to this country through unorthodoxy by making everyone equally confused about my political stances and affiliations. Also, I think we should increase teacher pay, as that has been bugging me for a while. When electing officials, I value representatives who uphold good character. So I want to showcase that to you all today and say that I care about each and every one of you and your opinions about me. Maybe too much, but at least I do care. I am also a firm believer in integrity. Because the speech required me to be reflective in some way, and I am committed to delivering exactly what is asked of me, I have brought a mirror because what could be more reflective than that? After all, I am an honest person and I stand true to my word. Now, if that hasn't compelled you to support my presidential campaign yet, I am open to bribe deals, but otherwise, this concludes my speech. As a nation, we have the potential to inspire growth and compassion within each other, uniting us all under a country that stands for the greater good and the unintentional destruction of the economy. Together, may this hopeful vision become one of reality. And thank you, everybody, for your time. Now, the next speaker is graduating this year. Hurrah! She has progressed so much since her first speech, and we, in public speaking, third period, are very proud of her. She is notable for her love of sports, such as soccer and lacrosse, but most importantly, she is renowned for overcoming her anxiety with a radiant confidence that serves to inspire us all and demonstrate the progress that it... Oh my gosh. Setting a hallmark for the strength and support it takes to progress this far. However, my description doesn't quite bring her justice, so let's have her demonstrate it right here. Give it up for Ava Beebe.
Four years of high school, 4 different academic journeys, 4 different athletic journeys, 4 years of growth. I would be lying if I said that these were the best years of my life. Starting freshman year had me feeling an excited kind of anxious. I was ready to start a big chapter of my life. I made new friends and lost some too. I got good grades and bad. I did well in sports and pushed myself to work hard. I remember one of my teachers telling my class about a Regents test we would have to take the following year. I sat there and I thought, I don't need to worry about that right now. It's a year away. The first year went by so slow, I didn't expect the next couple of years to fly by. Second year of high school and my life took a turn. Anxiety, sadness, and anger were taking up my mind and my body on a constant loop. I had poor attendance and bad grades. I made varsity soccer that year and it was the worst season ever. I could barely make it through any of my practices or games without having a panic attack. This didn't happen just on the field, it happened in the classrooms as well. I isolated myself and lost my social life completely. It was like this for the first half of the year. Spring came and my second year of varsity lacrosse was beginning. It was the first season with new coaches. With this, I knew I needed to show them why I deserved to be on varsity as an underclassman. I pushed myself every day to show them the kind of player and teammate I am. This ended up being one of my best seasons I have ever had. I had led the team with the most ground balls. I got more confident not only with sports, but in my personal life as well. Third year of high school, the beginning of a new me. Over the summer, I had gotten my license, and this was huge for me. I was able to drive myself to school and practices now. For the first time, I had friends in all of my classes. I started to become more social. I was hanging out with friends, and sometimes it was me making plans. Second year of varsity soccer, and I was doing great. I hit 100 career saves, and I started every game. Third season of lacrosse came, and I found out that I was captain that year. I didn't know what to feel other than excited. I was so proud of myself for how far I had come. We had a great season until we unfortunately lost in the semifinal round of sectionals. I was crushed. It was a phenomenal game, and everyone hustled their hearts out. That school year ended, and I was excited for what was ahead. The summer going into senior year, I got a job as a waitress. With the money I had saved up, I was able to have a fun experience on my trip to New York City with my mom and one of my close friends. We went to see our favorite band at Madison Square Garden. Thinking back to 2 years ago, I would not have been able to go to such a busy, crowded, and loud place. During the end of summer, I started hanging out with some of my best friends. I ended up going to another concert, which I would never expected myself to do. Fourth year of high school. I knew it was going to be a good year when I got an amended schedule, and I'm now allowed to leave after 7th period. Third season of varsity soccer, and I found out I was going to be captain. The season was going well until halfway through, in the middle of a game, I hurt my thumb. I'm the goalie for soccer, by the way. I played through 8 more games on this injury. After our last game, I went and got it checked out, only to find out that I had fractured it in 2 different spots. I was in a cast for about 2 months. This made my winter very boring. I didn't really hang out with friends that much, but it wasn't that bad. I was able to stay on top of my assignments and have time to relax. Fourth season of varsity lacrosse came, and I was once again captain. Our season has gone great, and we won the semifinal round of sectionals, and we also just won the sectional championship last night, too. From the beginning of high school to now, I have faced many challenges. I've come out on top every single time. The things I am doing now, I would not have been able to do 2 years ago. Knowing that I have faced these difficulties makes me want to continue to push and challenge myself to become the best version of myself. Thank you. Next up is Marcus Cole. Marcus has done great all year. He's always in a good mood and is always eating everyone's food. Unfortunately, he cannot be here tonight, so he'll be speaking up there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ava. My first year of varsity track was when I was in 8th grade, and I only joined because COVID made it so there were no competitive meets that season. With that being said, my first competitive meet was when I was a freshman, and I was not prepared. I started out as a miler and a half miler. I was not very good at the mile, but in the 800, I was the best on our team. I honestly hated the sport because who has fun just running multiple laps and losing? But my mom and grandma kept me running. My sophomore year, I continued to run the 800, but at the end of the season, I ran the 400-meter dash for my very first time, and I knew it was going to be my race. I competed at sectionals, but it was only because my coach pulled a few strings to let me compete. I came last, but I knew I had it in me. I knew I had 2 more years to get stronger and faster. But my junior year, I tore my ACL. I had my surgery in September, so I thought that by my track season, I was going to be fully cleared to run. I was completely wrong. I missed the first week of practices because I wasn't even cleared yet. Then, when I came back, I was forced to wear a big knee brace. I was devastated. I ran slower my junior year than I did my sophomore year. I hated it. I hated the fact that I was slower than I was now that I actually started enjoying the sport. Heading into my senior season, I was excited now that I did not have to use the brace. Immediately, I started to run new personal bests. In my 4th meet of the season, I qualified for state qualifiers in the 400, which is why I cannot be there doing my speech in person. It made my year knowing I've improved this much just from my junior year into my senior year. My time went from 57.61 seconds to 51.89 seconds. That 6 seconds showed just how much work I put in to come back from this level of injury. Along with the 400, I've made sectionals in the 100, 200, the 800, and I've made state qualifiers in the 400 and 800 relay. The journey was very difficult coming back from this injury, but the support I got from coaches, my parents, my grandparents, and friends drove me to come back even better. Thank you. Our next speaker is Sam Booth. She is a very talented speaker and has been nothing short of a supporting classmate. This upcoming fall, she will be attending a prestigious school, and I know that she will accomplish great things. Here's Sam.
Thank you, Marcus. Different people in different places. People told me to dye my hair, so I did. People told me to play sports, so I did. People even told me to take public speaking, and look at me now. Although I don't consider myself easily influenced, these examples that I just gave might contrast that insight. The definition of an influence is, and I quote, the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something or the effect itself. Sorry. What being in this world can have such a capacity to influence others than yourself? Well, maybe not all of you in this room, but to my class, to period 3, these are my influences. When you walk into 329, you would most likely be greeted by a radiant smile belonging to Jasmine. Jasmine strives for success in everything she does and is one of the most hardworking people I've been able to know. Turning to the right and occupying the pink chair, or the floor, is Cooper. Cooper teaches me to be spontaneous and leave people guessing. I bet you didn't know that he can play the guitar and do the splits. Point proven. Backing up in the row, you will see Marcus and Kyle. Whether it's eating other people's food or playing games instead of writing speeches, this duo always works together. Although they can't be here today, I hope that they know that I admire their friendship. To my left, having to deal with my daily crunching of breakfast, is Ava. Ava has shown me that nothing is ever really that serious. Although she isn't always there, when she is one of our strongest speakers, as you just saw. Ava, I love hearing all of your stories, and I appreciate your vulnerability in class. Against the window, you will find DJ and Dan. I have been able to learn a lot about these two in public speaking alone. Each is caring, engaging, and supportive in a very different way. DJ,
I hope that you carry on with your music. And Dan, I hope that you stick with DJ. Behind me sits Lachelle. Lachelle is everyone's personal hype woman and makes me excited to go to human anatomy every morning. You have made me more and more comfortable in class and given me a space to vent. Oh yeah, and thanks for the food. Next to her is Maddie. Now, Maddie and I played tennis together this season, so having her in the class made it feel less scary to begin with. Maddie is extremely talented in the arts. Every speech she presents is an improvement from her last, and she proves how important it is to keep learning and to keep growing. Next to me, the person who always steals my water is Sienna. Sienna is one of my best friends, and she keeps me alert. You never know what to expect from her, really, as she can go from a hug to stealing your snacks in a minute. As a stats test does hate to see us coming every day, and we are lucky enough to have public speaking the period before it. Thanks for everything. In front of me are my junior gals, Briar and Gabriella, or Gibby. You guys are always having something fun to say and make me laugh. Briar, I promise you, you are very blonde. And Gabby, you are very smart. I hope that you both do great things in your future and stick together per usual. Scooting over is the Queen Agnika, my toughest critic but my greatest support. Agnika always has a critique for our speeches but always sees the good in us. I hope your creativity continues, and when we are older, remember who taught you how to dance Gangnam Style at prom. Soph's up next. She shows me that to be something, you have to do something. Her growth in ceramics and speaking within the past 2 years is truly remarkable. Going from making pots to large sculptures and vases is much harder than you guys might think. Great job, Soph. Next to her is Harper. Harper and I go way back to pre-K when she had the bangs and I had the all over the place curls. Harper is the happiest person that I know. Her positivity shines through every single speech, no matter the topic. She reminds me to search for the good in everyone, not to hold grudges, and to forgive. Love you, Harper. You'll hear this next peer reciting some sort of Shakespeare or making a much-needed uplifting comment. To the one who gives the strongest kind words and uplifting messages, dear Irissa, we all love and appreciate you, and you have gotten so much more comfortable in your skin throughout this whole year. And I am so thankful that I've got not only this class, but also AP Lit with you. You're the best. And I would vote for you, by the way. The next row starts with Nate. Nate intimidated me a bit at the beginning of the year, but now I can say that we're maybe friends. Okay. Nate is the epitome of the cliche, never judge a book by its cover. At the start of the year, I'm sure he could tell you he didn't love public speaking, but now he has proven to all of us that he is the best wordsmith in the class and one of our best speakers. Thank you, Nate. It's hard to miss this next peer, since every time I look, seems like her hair is a different color. Haley. Haley's uniqueness is what makes her Haley. Thank you for all of your wonderful stories and encouragement through this year. I am proud of you for how far you've come and know you will get to grow even more in your future. And at the head of it all is Miss Chatterton. Chatty is a light in all of our lives, although I don't think that she knows how much of an impact she has had on mine. She has been a shoulder to cry on, a friend to listen to, and a parent to tell me when I'm behind. I can't wait for you to come visit me and get your corn on in Nebraska with Sissel, even though I say I'll hate it. Thank you so much for helping me to grow and open up to people. Without you, I don't think that I could have been put in the position that I'm in today. If you're thinking about taking public speaking next year, please do it. You may be feeling like the list I just read described a lot of people, and well, I thought that too, but this class is not one of pressure or of judgment. It's one of love and of community. The memories that you make will cancel out the speeches that you fake. Thank you for listening. No, I didn't forget you, Jaren. I now have the pleasure to introduce lovely Jaren Dudley. Jaren, although she is not typically vocal, she has a lot of valuable takes on topics in this class. You can expect to see her with not one, but two, and maybe even three fun little drinks from Dunkin' in the corner, and she never fails to surprise us with her newfound confidence in every speech, even though she will tell you she can't stay in this class. Give it up for Jaren, everyone.
Thank you, Sam. I came into high school with a backpack full of supplies and little excitement. I'm leaving with a mild burnout and a deep appreciation for naps. I would like to start by thanking Google, caffeine, and the notebooks that held all of my happiness, sadness, and anger that I felt over the last 4 years. But on a serious note, high school is definitely some of the best and worst years of my life. It's more than just attending classes 180 days out of the year. You make hundreds of memories, good and bad, with everyone that you meet. High school for me was not the easiest. I always struggled academically, but always managed to get by. But it was struggling mentally that really took a toll on me. It was simple day-to-day tasks that became very difficult. Some people see it as laziness, but this is how I would describe it. Imagine walking up 50 flights of stairs, carrying 150 pounds, and stepping on Legos every step that you take. Is it impossible? No, but it does make things a lot more difficult. I learned that days are either going to suck or they're going to be great. But no matter what type of day I was having, the world kept spinning. And that was hard for me to accept. But eventually I did accept the fact that there's not just a pause button I can hit every time that I need a break. I want to thank the support system that stuck by my side, because without them, I definitely would not have made it this far. My mom, my dad, and both of my sisters have always been there for me. But I also have a really big support system at school. I've always had some of the best teachers I could possibly ask for, and I'm so grateful that some of them have stuck by me today. I've always kept my circle small with friends, partially because I have a hard time communicating with people my age, but also because I have a fear of losing the people that I love. Leaving all the teachers and friends that have shaped me into the person I am today is something I never thought was going to happen. But now that graduation is right around the corner, I want to reflect on my high school experience. I have learned some hard lessons in high school. And no, this isn't how to write a TAR or how to solve for X. These are lessons that I will always remember because of the impact they've made on me. 1, your grades do not reflect who you are. 2, having a lot of friends is not something you can be embarrassed about. And 3, do not become the person you don't want to be just because other people don't appreciate who you are. Sometimes it feels like you're never going to fit in, but changing yourself is definitely not the answer. I could talk all day about things I've learned the hard way in high school, but there's simply not enough time in the world. As much as I love to complain about school, asking my mom almost every day if I can leave early or go home, or stay home, or complaining about an assignment that I think is dumb, I'm definitely going to miss some memories that I've made. Memories as big as going on a school trip, or memories as little as first chapter Friday in English. I have met some of the most important people in my life during school, from favorite teachers to best friends. And now that my high school career is coming to an end, I'm starting to realize that maybe it wasn't so bad, but I definitely would not want to relive it. Thank you. Our next speaker is Haley. Haley is one of the first people in the class that I felt comfortable around. She's one of the sweetest people I've ever met and shark obsessed. Haley is graduating early this year, and I'm extremely proud of her for putting in all the hard work and dedication it took her to get this far. So here's Haley.
You're gonna make me cry. Thank you, Jaren. Good afternoon, everyone, or evening, I guess. I want to tell you a story. Not a grand epic, but something small, something seemingly insignificant that changed how I see life. A few months ago, almost a year, I went on a walk. Nothing crazy, just a small walk that I thought would clear my head. I'd been going through a rough patch, work stress, relationship tension, that creeping feeling that I was losing control over the pace of my life. So I did what many of us do when the noise becomes too much. I escaped to nature. About 15 minutes into the walk, I felt something in my shoe, a pebble. Tiny, annoying, I thought, it's small, I'll keep walking. It'll shift around and settle. But it didn't. With every step, it pressed against the same spot. I told myself to ignore it. I was stubborn. I had a plan. I was going to finish that walk, no breaks, no distractions. An hour later, that pebble had me limping. When I finally sat down and took off my shoe, there it was, a grain-sized rock, laughably small, but it had already worn through my sock and left a raw blister. And in that moment, sitting alone on a street, I realized that this wasn't about a pebble. It was about my life. How many times had I ignored small problems thinking I was too busy, too strong, or too focused to deal with them? How many conversations had I avoided, messages left unanswered, apologies left unsaid, just because I thought they were small? I had let those little things fester into stress, resentment, and burnout, all because I didn't stop to deal with a pebble in my shoe. That day, I learned something I carry with me now. Small problems don't stay small, they grow, quietly and consistently, until they demand your attention, often when it's least convenient. Now I try to catch the pebbles early. I pause, I address discomfort, I speak up sooner, because if I don't, I know exactly what the cost will be. So my message to you is simple. Don't wait until you're limping, check your shoe, handle that pebble. Thank you. Our next speaker is Kyle Daly, who I would say is one of the best speakers in my class, even though he's on his phone all the time. And a lot of the time, he doesn't write his speeches. But he is overall a really good speaker and a really amazing person. Kyle is great at just getting up here and talking with no plan, no speech written, but even when he does write them, they're just as good. Now everyone welcome our final speaker of the night, Kyle Daly, on the tees.
Thank you, Ava.
Good evening, everyone. Today, I'm going to be reflecting on my childhood and school experiences while comparing them to the GOAT GOAT, Jersey Drake discography. Myself being born in 2007 and Drake's first major project releasing in 2008 proves to be a perfect comparison. His first two albums, So Far Gone and Thank Me Later, are mostly said to be some of his weaker pieces of his career, but they are still great. As a new artist blooming onto the scene, that is expected. However, each album has classics. So Far Gone, containing the song Best I Ever Had, which is one of the most iconic Drake songs, and Thank Me Later, containing lots of great songs, and one of my favorite songs, Over. The songs that are great on these albums directly represent the first core memories that I've created. The first friends I had, the first days of first years of school. But the other songs that are forgotten on those albums are an equivalent to the core memories that I haven't made because I was at such a young age. Next is Take Care, released in 2011. This is commonly known as Drake's best album to many people. To most Drake fans, out of the 19 songs, there are little to no unperfect songs. This album represents my later years of elementary school at Sherman Elementary, 1st through 4th grade. This is the first time in my childhood that I can remember a widespread amount of memories. I can vividly remember field trips, fun days held at the end of the year, and most importantly, the memories of youth sports. Championship weekends at the YMCA for indoor soccer. The bleachers filled all day long for playoffs. Winning those games and those $5 shirts we won as a team still are my favorite memories from that time. Views in 2016. Easily my favorite Drake album ever. 20 songs, 82 minutes of greatness. This album matches perfectly with 5th and 6th grade for me at Wiley. This is the first time everyone at Watertown in my grade was at the same school. It was the first time I remember thinking we were the older kids. Wiley field days, kickball tournament, winning the kickball tournament. Syracuse was in March Madness. Russell Westbrook was still on the Thunder. Whenever my friends and I talk about the best grades of our careers, 5th and 6th grade always remain in the top 5. Scorpion, 2018. This is one of those albums where when I look back on it, it was much better than I originally thought. During my first listen, it wasn't that good, but now I really love it. An album where you would hope for better in the future, but it was still just solid. This album is perfect representation of 7th and 8th grade. 7th grade started off great as we were again at a new school and finally playing school sports for the modified teams. But then the pandemic happened, which during that time I thought it was terrible. I still think it was. But I have now realized that I think it was where I grew the most as a person. I was able to make a huge jump in my athletic career, and I found that my passion for sports were greater than just playing my own games. Sports were on every night during the pandemic, whether it was the NBA bubble or just old games that were playing during the suspension of professional sports. I believe this is where I fell in love with the coaching aspect and the process of getting better at sports outside of just team practices. Next, Drake released the album Certified Lover Boy in 2021, Her Loss in 2022, For All the Dogs in 2023, an additional 6 songs to that album a few months later. I believe that these 4 albums represent my high school career, but also the high school experience of a lot of people. Personally, I love all 4 of these projects. Top to bottom, they're all great. But music fans are typically blinded by nostalgia and fail to appreciate how amazing these songs were, even if they weren't as good as his old ones. And I believe that is exactly what happens in high school. The feeling of leaving middle school and starting the journey of high school is exciting and a whole new experience. However, a lot of people worry about growing older and reminisce on the times when they were young, even though they are living in some of the best last free years of their lives. Thinking back on the years prior and how we had so much time blinds us of how we are still living in those years as high schoolers. As a freshman, I thought about how middle school was already over and it felt like time was flying. Sophomore year, I thought about how I already left middle school 2 years ago. Junior year, I thought about how we only had 1 year left after this. And senior year flew by, right to the end of the year. And for the last month, I've been thinking it's already over. But when I truly sit back, I can see how high school years were actually the best times I've ever had. And it has allowed me to be more appreciative of my friends, families, teachers, and coaches. Thank you. That concludes the last speaker for the public speaking final. Thank you guys for coming out. I hope everyone has a great night. And now I'll turn it over to Ms. Chatterton.
So whoever